Label Radio.
Yes, y'all. This is White Label Radio on KDAY. My name is Melloe Won, and that joint right there was N.W.A, always into something. And like I've been teasing all this time, we have a special guest in the building, Mr. Jerry Heller. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Melloe, how are you, man? I got history at this station.
Right?
You know?
Right?
I got history.
Exactly.
And I got history with you, man. So
I appreciate that. So how have you been?
I've been okay. I've had some little health problems, but I feel pretty good.
I appreciate you coming. It's an honor to have you here. Like I said before, it's legendary to have you in the building.
Oh, thanks, man.
At our last show, it was very controversial. A lot of people had some good things to say about you. Some people had some bad things to say about you. But, you know, as a businessman, everybody respected you because of what you did to make this group where they are today. And now they're nominated for all these awards for the movie and all the rest of that stuff. So we appreciate that, you know. So let's get into it. Last time we talked, the movie hadn't come out yet. And one thing you said that stuck with me, you said you'll be there opening day with your lawyers. So on opening day, was your dates your lawyers?
Yeah, I went and saw it. Of course, I wasn't invited to any of the screenings, but I went and saw it in Calabasas. And I was there with my lawyers, and I watched it very carefully. And then I had someone got a screener for me, and we met at a friend of mine's house with the lawyers. We went over it frame by frame.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
So before we go into that detail right there, let's paint this picture for me. So you get to Calabasas movie theater, you buy your ticket. Do you get popcorn or no popcorn?
No popcorn. Who can afford popcorn, man? You know?
So you're in the movie and you're sitting there watching it. Did people notice you and recognize you in the theater?
Well, actually, I saw it in Westlake Village. In Calabasas, I lived there for 25 years.
Yeah.
So I'm very recognized. That's really show business.
Yeah.
Out in Westlake Village, a lot of older people, not quite so show business. So
Okay.
they really don't recognize you out there.
So nobody recognized you in the movie theater?
Well, there were a couple of people, but, not... a couple of people wanted to take pictures with me and stuff like that.
Okay. So the response was good then with you in the movie theater?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine, man. As time goes on and more people read my book,
Yeah.
and more people find out what really went down, I become more and more of an icon than I do
A villain.
a villain. Yeah, then I haven't heard that villain stuff in a long, long time.
Yeah. So what was your, so now that you saw the movie, what was your thoughts about the movies?
Well,
let's break it down.
Actually, I thought that it was a good movie. I just thought it was bullshit.
And it's funny you said it because I agree 100% with what you just said.
Right.
It was good. It was good theater, but the story was flawed.
I mean, yeah, there was a lot of weird things in there that just didn't happen. And, as far as I'm concerned, Eazy-E was the man.
Yes.
He was the only person beside myself that understood what N.W.A was. Everybody else, it was just business as usual.
Yeah.
But he and I understood the social significance of N.W.A. N.W.A are probably the most important sociological force of the 20th century, man.
That's true. That's true.
They did more, I think, for race relations than anyone except Bobby Kennedy and Dr. King.
That's true. That's true. And you've been on record saying that a lot. So in this, when you seen the movie, what was one of the most significant things that you said this is bullshit in the movie? Was it one thing that just stood out among all the things?
Okay. Since, I will answer that question.
Okay.
But understand that, I have filed a lawsuit,
Yes.
which has been all over the press.
Yes.
And so I'm not going to really get into specifics so much. But, you know me a little bit.
Yes.
Can you see me sitting in my kitchen crying when Eazy supposedly fired me?
No, absolutely not. It's funny because I was in the movie theater with Emma J, and I'm like, yo, this movie, like this, it's just not feasible that this happened? You know, like, how do you even know what happened with you and Eazy if they wasn't there and you wasn't involved with creating a movie? That was my biggest thing.
Right. So that was just, you know, there were 29 separate instances of.
Oh, wow.
Like when the movie started. I mean, whoever saw Suge Knight beat down Eazy-E? I mean, that never happened, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a fairy tale.
Yeah.
But there were some things that were right out of my book. The part where I scream at the cops that they can't talk to, you know, to N.W.A. that way.
Yeah.
And there were some things that they took right out of my book that were true. Now, my book was 100% true. Every single word of that book was true. Obviously, Simon & Schuster knew it was going to be controversial, and they checked everything.
Of course.
And they didn't change one word in the book. There wasn't even a misspelling. So the book is really the truth. And at the end, when I have those little quotes from people, I ask people for quotes.
Yes.
And there was will.i.am, and I taught him how to protect himself. And there was Irving Azoff, who said that, you know, and all these people said nice things. Well, I asked Ice-T to say something, and he said, well, when I met Jerry Heller, I just didn't trust him. So I put that right on the back with the good things. If you didn't trust me, okay. You know, if you're going to tell the truth, you got to tell the whole truth.
The complete truth.
Not just the truth that you want to hear.
Yes.
You got to tell the whole truth, man.
And that was my biggest controversy with the movie, is that you can tell it came from a perspective of one side. And I didn't appreciate that. But overall, it was a great movie as far as cinematic, the way they shot it and the whole nine. But like the story itself was flawed. Not even the stuff that was for you, but the story itself as a whole, you know? So
remember that Cube and Dre acted like they started Ruthless.
Yeah.
Cube was in CIA, and Dre was in World Class Wrecking Crew. Yellow was in World Class Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
It was Eazy and I that started Ruthless Records.
Yeah.
Not them.
And now,
so, you know, and you know, in the movie, Gary Gray showed it as like that wasn't the way it came down. Well,
Gary Gray actually said, I watched the interview with him and Ice Cube, and they asked about you, and did you talk to Jerry, whatever? And Ice Cube said, no, we didn't. We didn't have a reason to. And Gary Gray said, I read his book. And that's where some of the reference, like you said, from your book. They read your book, but they didn't feel the need to come talk to you, which is kind of odd, because they had everybody from DOC to DJ Speed to all these people on the set of this movie that was not as important as you were to this whole entire story.
I think it wasn't as important, but they wanted to tell the story a certain way.
Yeah.
And they knew with me around, they couldn't do that.
Yes.
Nobody from either New Line or Legendary or Universal, or no one ever once called me and asked me to be involved in that film.
So since then, have you talked to any of those guys or any of those people? I'm sure now you're saying this in the courts realm, but have you seen a Dre, or have you seen anybody from the movie and talked to them about it?
Not one person.
Not one person?
No. I haven't seen Cube since the day he left N.W.A.
Wow. How did you think Cube's son did in the movie?
I thought he was a very good actor.
He was amazing, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
My beef was that
the story.
And Eazy's son didn't have to play Eazy, but he should have been given the opportunity to read for the part. If he was no good, then he was no good.
They didn't even allow him to read for the part?
No.
They had an open casting call, didn't they?
No.
They wouldn't let him read for the part?
No.
That's crazy.
That's what he says.
That's crazy.
So I thought that was very disrespectful to Eazy.
So you still talk to Eazy's son?
I talk to all of them periodically. Like I ran into Aaron, who I was always very close with. I threw her birthday
Eazy's
party.
daughter.
EB, yeah.
Yes.
I ran into her, her and her mom somewhere at some public event not too long ago, and we hugged and kissed. And
So you and her mom are cool?
well, I've always been cool with her. I just, she was very volatile. And you got to read the book.
Yes, I definitely read the book, and that's why I asked, are you guys cool now? But I guess, water under the bridge, and you guys have moved on, and you guys have a connection now that's historical.
Right.
What do you think about the actor that played you in the movie?
Well, he said a couple of things. That he was on the Jimmy Fallon show, and he said that I guess the only parts he plays now are scandalous managers. And he admitted that they told him not to talk to me.
So he didn't talk to you at all either?
Never.
Which is kind of odd, because when actors go into a role, they go and actually talk to that person. When Will Smith was playing Muhammad Ali, he went and sat with Muhammad Ali and the whole nine. So that's kind of odd that he didn't actually come to you, at least, even if he was doing a movie that was controversial, just to get you.
Well, that's why Will Smith was so good as Ali.
Yeah, he was.
Because he almost lived with him for a year and a half, or whatever. But no, nobody from that film even contacted me.
But how do you think he, as an actor, as far as him playing you, how do you think he did?
I thought he was lame.
Just to be honest, right?
I think he's a good actor, but I thought he was lame in that movie, and he was even worse in Love and Greed, which was the story of where he was the psychiatrist that was Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, his Svengali.
I never seen it. I'm about to see that. It's called Love and Greed.
Well, I mean, you'll never see it. I saw it at the Writers Guild.
No, he said you'll never see it. Is it somebody's trash can somewhere?
You'll never see it.
So what's next? Of course, you can't talk about the legalities of everything or whatever, but what's next as far as the legacy of Jerry Heller and Ruthless Records?
I think that the movie has hurt my credibility, and at this stage of my life, there aren't people beating down my doors to manage him or do projects with him. So I think that the movie has hurt me a lot.
Hurt you a lot. So you're saying that. So when the movie came out, were you getting? Because I know you're active, on social media or whatever, or you're still active around. Did you get a lot of negative comments and stuff after the movie?
I didn't get negative, not really negative, but no comments.
No comments.
Right.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the same as negative.
Yeah, right? Unless you go to the doctor, and if the doctor don't call you, that means you're okay.
Yeah, okay.
So are you still trying to be active in the music, or like managing people? Are you still?
I would love to. And I would like to do some public speaking and like to do some more teaching of college, which I do. But I think that this movie is going to make that very, very difficult for me, and it has made it very difficult.
It's crazy because I would think it would be the opposite, because I would think that people want to hear your story. Like when we did our interview 6 months ago, or actually January, was that 10 months ago. So, and from there, once the movie came out, our interview went viral. People still wanted to see your story and hear from you and hear whatever. And there was a lot of comments that were kind of like, oh, this guy, they was negative, but it was a lot of positive comments as well too, as far as your creation of this group and seeing this vision. So I believe that it's the opposite. I believe that you can probably go out and do some things because people want to see your vision.
Well, that hasn't been true, but
let's set it up then. Can I set it up and let's do a speaking engagement? White Labor Radio presents Jerry Heller, and you can speak the truth.
Okay.
See, you hear that? See, we always setting up deals.
I got a job already.
Yeah, there you go. We're gonna get you a job. So, what do you think about the portrayal of Eazy-E in the movie? Because I've been on record this saying that I didn't like the way they made Eazy look like he was begging these guys to come back, and he was sitting around waiting for these guys to come back, and he was getting money from Death Row's release of Dr. Dre and the whole nine, and they made him seem like he was just this guy.
Well, you know that Eazy was a very strong, intelligent individual, and he wasn't portrayed that way in the movie.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm very cognizant of his legacy.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't portrayed that way. Because remember, after Cube and Dre left, he came out with Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yes, he did.
He did, he did the big record, himself after that.
Yeah.
So,
and they didn't put that in the movie. That's part of the I didn't like that they didn't put him in a different light.
Yeah.
Because we talked about moguls, and you said that you think, as far as hip hop history, you think that Eazy should be number one on the list as far as hip hop moguls.
Absolutely.
I say he's number 2 or 3 because of what Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin did in Def Jam, but arguably he's in the
Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin, 2 people.
He's one man.
Okay.
Yes.
2 people, and something totally different than what Eazy did. They were incredible businessmen. I like Russell Simmons, and Rick Rubin is one of my favorite producers of all time.
Yes.
But what Eazy did changed the world.
Yeah.
That group changed the world, and he saw it, and he was the one that was really responsible for putting it together.
That's true. That's true. Well, we got Mr. Jerry Heller here. We're going to go into a song and a little talk break and a commercial break, and then we're going to come back and talk some more about it. Let's get into one of the first songs you guys released on Ruthless Records, JJ Fad, Supersonic. This is White Label Radio on KDAY. DJ Nels, Melloe Won. Let's go.